Jack Rourke does not listen to warning signs. He listens to debt. To broken ships. To the sound of his empty wallet. The old space station hangs in the dark like a dead spider. No lights outside. No radio beacons. No traffic. Only one thing still stands out on the hull. Big faded letters near the main airlock. Biohazard Level 10. Access denied. Authorized personnel only. Jack floats outside in his old space suit. His small ship called the Rusty Bucket is docked behind him with a crooked seal. Ivy. Jack says inside his helmet. Give me a status check. The ship AI answers in his ear. Her voice sounds calm and annoyed at the same time. Status. Your oxygen is fine. Your suit is old. This station is on every do not approach list in the sector. So nobody else is here to loot it. Jack says. Perfect. This place was flagged as extreme biohazard. Ivy says. Most people see that as a reason to stay away. Most people do not owe criminals money. Jack says. Open the outer lock. There is a short pause. Then the old airlock groans. Rusty motors wake up. The hatch slowly slides open. Stale air moves around Jack. Dust floats in the beam of his helmet light. He steps inside the station. The corridor is long and narrow. His lamp shows broken cables hanging from the ceiling. Some wall panels are burned. Some are melted. Every few steps he sees warning paint on the walls. Biocontainment zone. Class 10 assets? Do not breach. Ivy. Jack says. What was this place? Central research for an old government project. Ivy answers. Records say classified biological asset. Then they go dark 50 years ago. 50 years of nobody visiting. Jack says. Which means nobody has sold the valuable junk yet. Or the junk killed everyone. Ivy says. Jack keeps going. The floor under his boots changes from smooth metal to a rough surface. There are drain lines cut into it. Looks like a lab area. He says. Maybe a containment wing. He reaches a heavy blast door. This one is thicker than the rest. Reinforced. Cold and solid. A giant warning is painted across it. Bioasset level Omega. Tank room. Do not open under any circumstance. Jack stands still for a moment and just looks at it. Omega level. Ivy says. That is the highest class. This is the part where smart people turn around and go home. Yeah. Jack says. But smart people do not have collectors hunting them for money. He runs a gloved hand along the edge of the door. He finds an old control panel with dim lights. Ivy. He says. Can you talk to this lock? Working on it. Ivy says. For the record. I never agreed to help you die. The panel flickers. A small status light changes from red to yellow. Good news. Ivy says. I can open it. And the bad news? Jack asks. Every system in this station is screaming at me to keep it closed. Ivy answers. So there is something special inside. Jack says. That sounds like profit. He takes a breath. Do it. The blast door groans as it moves. Dust falls from the ceiling. Old gears drag across each other. The door slides open just enough for him to slip through. Cold air washes over his suit. His suit sensors blink. Air is full of unknown particles. Ivy says. No instant death readings. Yet. Biosigns. Jack asks. 1. Ivy says. Very faint. Center of the room. Jack steps through the doorway. The tank room is wide and round like a small arena. Dead screens cover the walls. Broken machines sit in pieces. In the center stands one giant cylinder tank. It glows with bright green light. The tank is full of neon green liquid. The light from it dances across the walls and the ceiling. Thick cables and pipes run into the tank from all sides. The metal floor around it is stained and eaten away in places. Jack stares and lets out a low breath. You are pretty, he says. That is not the word I would use. Ivy replies. He walks slowly around the tank. His helmet scans the markings on the side. Most of the label is burned or corroded. But some words remain. Project Vora. Corrosive hybrid. Contact prohibited. Jack frowns. Corrosive hybrid. He repeats. That does not sound friendly. It sounds like go back to your ship. Ivy says. Jack wipes a patch of glass clean with his glove. He looks inside the glowing tank. Something moves. Hold on. He whispers. He leans closer. Inside the green liquid a shape floats curled into a ball. Not a tentacle monster. Not a giant insect. A woman. She is humanoid. Yum. Her body is slender and still. Her skin has a blue-green tint under the liquid. Long hair drifts around her like a pale cloud. Thin wires connect her back and neck to ports inside the tank. Faint lights blink on those ports and then fade again. She looks calm and dangerous at the same time. Jack feels his heart speed up. Ivy, he says softly. She is alive. Biosign confirmed. Ivy answers. Very weak. She may be in deep stasis. Jack reads the labels again. Do not open. Containment only. Corrosive output extreme. He hesitates. Jack, Ivy says. Listen to me. You can walk away. You can find another station. You do not have to open this tank. Jack knows she is right. He also knows a living alien hybrid could be worth more than any pile of scrap. Even a few cells. Even some data. More than enough to clear his debts. All I need, he says, is to see if there is a control core or data I can pull. I am not selling her. I just want information. This is the exact sentence people say before things go very bad. Ivy says. Jack finds the control panel at the base of the tank. The small screen lights up weakly when he touches it. Broken lines of text move across it. Drain cycle. Emergency release. Manual override. His glove brushes against a cracked metal lever. The panel beeps. Warning flashes for a second, then glitches. Manual override accepted. Draining sequence start. The green liquid inside the tank starts to drop. Oh no. Jack says. I did not mean to do that. Pipes hiss. The tank shakes slightly. The glowing liquid rushes out through the drains in the floor. Where it spills, the metal floor melts. Jack jumps back as a splash lands near his boots. The metal there bends and sags. Jack, Ivy says. The liquid is highly corrosive. I see that. He shouts. In less than 10 seconds, most of the liquid is gone from the tank. The figure inside drops to the bottom and lands hard on her knees and hands. She coughs and gasps. Her wires snap loose. Ports on her skin flicker and go dark. Slowly she lifts her head. Her eyes open. They glow bright acid green. The outer walls of the tank split and fold back with a sharp hiss. Cold air hits her wet skin. Green drops fall from her hair and arms and face. Each drop that hits the floor burns a new hole. She falls forward on her hands again. Steam rises where her fingers touch the metal. The floor softens under her palms. She looks at Jack. For a long second they just stare at each other. A poor human scavenger in a cheap suit. A deadly alien woman fresh out of a forbidden tank. She moves faster than Jack expects. One moment she is on her hands and knees. The next she is right in front of him. Close enough that her glowing hair brushes his chest plate. Her hand slaps flat on his chest over his heart. Warm wet liquid spreads across his suit under her palm. The green glow pulses. If I drip on you, she says in a low, sharp voice, it is your fault. You opened the tank. Jack looks down at her hand. Then at the floor around them. The acid is spreading. The metal is melting. And the only solid patch of floor left is the one under his boots. And it is getting smaller every second. The room is falling apart. Metal under Jack's boots is bending and sinking. Green glowing liquid from the tank is spreading across the floor. Where it moves, the ground bubbles and turns soft like hot plastic. Vora's hand is on his chest. Her skin feels hot through his suit. Green light under her palm beats in a slow rhythm. Drops slide from her hair and arms. Every drop that hits the floor burns a new hole. Jack tries to stay calm. "Let us not drip on me," Jack says. Vora's eyes are half open. She looks around like someone waking from a bad dream. "Where am I?" she asks. "Old research station," Jack says. "You were in a tank. I opened it. That part was not my best decision." Her fingers press harder on his chest. "You did this," she says. "So if you melt, it is your fault." Before Jack can answer, the siren changes. The sound becomes faster and sharper. Red lights on the ceiling start to flash in a new pattern. "Ivy," Jack says. "What is happening now?" "Station security is online," Ivy says. "The system has seen a containment breach. It thinks you and the girl are the problem." "That sounds about right," Jack says. 2 wall panels slide open. 3 security droids drop into the room. They land heavy on the damaged floor and adjust their stance. They are tall metal machines with thick legs and red eyes. Guns are built into both arms. They scan the room with a low hum. They are finding targets, Ivy says. One droid turns its red eye toward Vora. The light in its eye grows brighter. "Bioasset active," Ivy reports in a flat voice. "Threat level extreme. Order is contain or kill." All 3 droids raise their guns and aim at Vora. Jack moves without thinking. He steps in front of her with his arms spread wide. "Wait!" Jack shouts. She just woke up. The nearest droid looks at him for 1 second. "Human unauthorized," Ivy says. "Threat level low." The droid ignores him and aims at Vora again. "I am really starting to hate robots," Jack says. The floor under his boots creaks. The green liquid is crawling closer. The safe patch of metal is shrinking every second. "Ivy," Jack says. "I need an idea and I need it fast." "I have 3 ideas," Ivy says. "Do not die. Leave the room. Find a miracle." Then the first droid fires. Bright energy blasts cut through the air. Jack grabs a dry part of Vora's torn suit near her shoulder and pulls her with him as he drops down. Her body swings between him and the droids. The shots slam into her back and shoulders. Jack waits for screams. There are none. The blasts touch her skin and vanish. They twist and fade like sparks in water. The glow around her just ripples. "Ivy," Jack whispers. "Did you see that?" "Yes," Ivy answers. Her skin is absorbing the energy. In simple words, she is acting like a shield. More shots hit Vora and disappear. None of them reach Jack. He looks at the droids. He looks at Vora. "Okay," Jack says. "We can use this." He stays low and moves sideways, dragging Vora with him. He keeps her body between him and the droids. Where he goes, he makes sure she is in the line of fire. The floor gets worse. One droid steps forward into a thin stream of green liquid. Its metal foot sinks. The joint melts. The leg snaps. The droid falls into the glowing pool. In a few seconds, half of it is gone. "One down," Jack says softly. 2 left. "This is not comfort," Ivy says. Jack swings his lamp around the room. His light lands on a heavy round hatch on the far wall. It has big bolts and a hand wheel. "Ivy," he says. "Is that a way out?" "Maybe," Ivy says. The door is locked. Jack looks at Vora. Her glow is weaker now. Her breath comes heavy and slow. But green drops still hang from her fingers. "Vora," Jack says. "Can you melt that door?" "Just the lock." "I can melt everything," she says. "That is the problem. Right now it is the solution," Jack answers. "See that round thing on the wall? Hit the center." She turns her head toward the hatch. The droids fire again. Blasts strike her side and disappear. Jack lifts her arm and aims her hand roughly at the lock. This is strange, Vora says. Welcome to my life, Jack says. Please try. Vora takes a slow breath. A single green drop falls from her fingertips. It flies across the room and hits the center of the lock. The metal hisses. It turns dark then soft. It slides down in glowing streams. The lock collapses. The hatch jumps and opens a little. There is our door, Jack says. Move. He pulls Vora toward the hatch. She pushes with shaking legs. Every step leaves a small burning mark on the floor. One more droid tries to follow, but the green liquid reaches its feet. Its legs sink and break. It falls and disappears into the pool. The last droid fires wild shots. Beams hit walls and floor and Vora's back. None of them touch Jack. They squeeze through the gap in the hatch. On the other side is a narrow service corridor. The alarm is quieter here. The floor is solid. The air feels cold through Jack's filters. Vora lets go of his chest plate and leans against the wall. My energy is almost gone, she says. I cannot make more acid without fuel. Fuel, Jack repeats. What kind of fuel? Not your food, Vora says. I need strong chemicals. Corrosive things. Toxic things. Liquids that burn and break apart. Jack thinks of the locker on his ship. Cans of industrial engine cleaner. Strong enough to eat metal. I might have something you can use, Jack says. Heavy footsteps echo from deeper in the corridor. Voices follow. Rough and confident. Jack turns and sees a group of space pirates in mismatched armor with guns in their hands. The leader lifts his weapon and laughs. Looks like someone opened the tank for us, he says. We are here for the girl. Step aside, human. The pirates block the narrow corridor. Their armor is dented and dirty. Their helmets are scratched. Their guns look well used. Jack feels Vora leaning on the wall behind him. Her glow is weak. Her breathing is heavy. The pirate leader walks forward a few steps. His helmet has a cracked gold visor. A painted jaw of metal teeth. On his chest plate is the mark of a skull biting a gear. He lifts his gun in one hand. Looks like someone already opened the forbidden tank for us, he says. That saves us work. He points the gun at Jack's face. Step aside, human, he says. The girl is worth more than your ship. More than your life. Jack raises his hands slowly. Can he fight 6 armed pirates in a narrow hall? No. Can he outrun them while the floor behind is melting? Also no. So he does the one thing he is good at. He talks. You guys are late, Jack says. Station wanted us dead first. The pirates laugh. The leader shakes his head. You are lucky we showed up, he says. Station security would have burned you. We are more gentle. 2 pirates move behind Jack. They grab his arms. Twist them back. Pain shoots through his shoulders. Easy, Jack says through his teeth. Suit is old. So am I. The leader steps closer to Vora. She pushes herself off the wall. Her legs shake. Her glow flickers. Stay back, Jack says. One pirate behind him hits his ribs with the gun, but Jack gasps and drops to one knee. The leader stands in front of Vora. Up close he can see her better. Blue-green skin. Wet glowing hair. Eyes like bright acid. So, he says, you are the famous asset. Project something. Vora. Right. Her eyes narrow slightly. You know my name, she says. We know your price, he answers. Every black market in the belt wants a piece of you. Alive or in small frozen samples. Either way we get rich. Vora looks at Jack. He is on one knee. Both arms held by pirates. One of them presses a gun to the back of his neck. The leader laughs inside his helmet. You care about this human, he says to her. That is adorable. He grabs Jack's chin with his free hand and lifts his head. You picked a soft one, he says. Look at him. Cheap suit. Cheap ship. Cheap brain. Jack tries to pull away. The pirate holding his arms tightens the grip. Vora's glow shifts. It is still weak. But there is a new sharp light in it. Let him go, she says quietly. The leader does not move. You are in no place to give orders, he says. He leans closer to Jack. Tell you what, he says. We take her. You stay here with whatever is left of this station. That is a fair deal for a nobody. Jack's jaw clenches. He could stay quiet. He could live. But his mouth has never learned that skill. Yeah, Jack says. Real fair. You walk off with a living acid bomb. And I get to freeze alone in the dark. The leader laughs again. You will not freeze, he says. This station will fall into the planet in a week at most. He turns back to Vora. Move, he says. Walk to the docking ring. No tricks. Vora tilts her head slightly. Her eyes settle on the leader's chest plate. On his helmet. On the arm holding the gun at Jack's neck. You heard him, she says. The leader snorts. You are not listening, he says. You are a product. He is floor decoration. He lifts his gun higher toward Jack. You do not need this one. Vora's hand twitches. For a moment she seems to sway. Too weak to stand? Then her fingers spread just a little. Jack sees it from the corner of his eye. Oh no, he whispers. A single glowing green drop falls from her hand. It floats through the air. Slow and gentle. It lands on the edge of the pirate leader's helmet near the gold visor. The armor there is thick. Hardened against bullets. Against vacuum. Against shrapnel. It is not hardened against her. The metal where the drop lands turns black. Then soft. Then liquid. The melt spreads out like a flower opening in fast motion. The visor sags and falls away. The pirate leader screams. The sound is raw and high. Some of the acid mist hits his skin underneath. He drops his gun and claws at his helmet. His fingers sink into the soft metal. Smoke rises. He drops to the floor, rolling and shouting. The other pirates let go of Jack in shock. What did she do? One of them yells. Get her. Another shouts. They raise their guns. Vora takes a step forward. Her legs shake hard. Her glow flares like a flare almost out of fuel. Do you wish to see what 2 drops can do? She says. The pirates freeze. They look at their leader melting on the floor. They look at Vora. At the green light dripping from her hands. One of them takes a slow step back. No asset is worth this, he mutters. Fall back. Another says. We were not paid for this. 2 pirates grab their screaming leader and drag him away down the corridor. The others follow. Guns still raised but backing off fast. In seconds they are gone. The corridor is quiet again. Except for the faint echo of distant alarms. Vora sways. Her glow drops from bright to almost nothing in a heartbeat. She leans on the wall and slides down to sit on the floor. Jack rushes to her side. He almost grabs her arm, then stops himself just in time. Careful, Jack says. You will cook my gloves. She gives a weak short laugh. Not for long, she says. I am empty. Her skin is still damp, but the drops no longer fall. Her eyes are duller now. I told you, she says. I need fuel. Corrosive fuel. I cannot keep using acid without it. Jack kneels in front of her. What kind of fuel? He asks. She looks at him like he is very slow. I told you in the other room, she says. Not food. Not water. I need chemicals. Industrial solvents. Engine acids. Cleaning agents. Things that warnings are written about. Jack's mind jumps to his ship. The small, messy cargo bay. The old locker full of cans and drums. High-grade engine cleaner. Warp coil acid flush. Rust remover with 3 danger labels. His face lights up. Vora, he says. I think I have exactly your kind of poison. She blinks slowly. On your ship? She asks. Yes, he says. On the Rusty Bucket. She looks down the corridor where the pirates ran. Then back at him. Then we should go, she says. She tries to stand and fails. Jack looks at her. At the faint glow on her skin. At the floor around them. He lets out a slow breath. Okay, he says. New rule. No more dripping on my suit. He turns around and kneels with his back to her. Climb on, he says. You cannot carry me, she says. Maybe not well, he answers. But better than leaving you for round 2 with the pirates. There is a pause. Then he feels her arms slowly slide around his shoulders. Her weight settles against his back. Somewhere near his neck something warm and faintly glowing drips onto the collar of his suit. He sighs. If I drip on you, it is your fault, she whispers in his ear. You offered. Yeah, Jack says. I know. He stands up, legs shaking, and starts walking toward the docks and the only pile of deadly chemicals that might save them both. Jack's legs burn by the time they reach his ship. The Rusty Bucket sits where he left it, docked to the dead station like a barnacle on a whale. The outer hatch is scratched and patched. The paint is peeling. But to Jack it looks like home and survival. Ivy, Jack says between breaths. We are coming in hot. Open up. The airlock door groans and slides open. Lights flicker on inside the short tunnel. You are limping, Ivy says. Her voice sounds closer now. Your heart rate is high. You are carrying extra mass. Extra mass has ears, Jack answers. She can hear you. Vora hangs on his back, her arms around his shoulders. Her head rests near his helmet. I can hear both of you, she says softly. And I am not mass. I am dangerous. That is not making me feel better, Ivy says. Jack steps into the ship. The inner lock closes behind them. He sets Vora down carefully on the deck. The floor under her hands smokes a little, but not as much as before. Her glow is almost gone now. Just a faint hint under the skin. This is very small, she says, looking around. You are very poisonous, Jack says. We all live with what we have. He moves to a metal locker bolted to the wall. A dented cabinet with old warning stickers. Restricted. Do not drink. Do not inhale. Jack pulls the door open. Inside are cans and bottles of different shapes. Most have faded skull symbols. Most look like bad ideas in liquid form. Ivy, Jack says. Which one will not blow up my ship if she drinks it? None of them are safe for normal life, Ivy answers. But she is not normal life. Vora crawls closer on hands and knees. She reads the symbols with quick, sharp eyes. Engine cleaner. Warp coil flush. Hull acid wash. She taps one tall metal can with her finger. This one, she says. Jack squints at the label. Industrial grade engine cleaner. Triple strength. Do not expose to skin. Do not swallow. He lifts it out carefully. Are you sure? He asks. Vora gives him a tired look. I was made to swim in acid, she says. Your warning labels are cute. She takes the can from his hands. Her fingers leave faint burn marks on the metal. She bites the cap off with sharp white teeth. Spits the piece aside. Hot chemical smell fills the small cabin. Do not spill that, Ivy says quickly. If it touches the deck, I am logging a complaint. Vora lifts the can to her mouth, tilts her head back, and drinks. Jack watches with wide eyes. She drains the can in long, easy gulps, like someone drinking cold water on a hot day. When it is empty, she licks a last glowing drop from the rim. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then her eyes snap wide open. The faint glow under her skin erupts into bright green light. It races down her arms and legs. Her hair lifts slightly as if charged. She takes a deep, slow breath. That, she says, is the best thing I have tasted in 500 years. You have been awake for 10 minutes, Jack says. She shrugs. Time in the tank still counts, she answers. Her glow steadies. Not wild. Not burning out. Just strong and bright. Jack lets out a breath he did not know he was holding. You look better, he says. I feel better, Vora says. Her voice no longer shakes. More fuel, she adds. Jack eyes the locker. We are not turning you into a walking chemical spill, he says. You got one free drink. Vora smiles just a little. You are very strict for someone with debt, she says. Ivy cuts in. While you two joke about poison, I should mention something. We are not alone. Jack's back goes cold. Define not alone, he says. External sensors online now, Ivy says. A large ship just dropped out of warp near the station. Profile matches pirate warship class. It is powering weapons and a tractor beam. Jack moves to the small cockpit window and looks out. Through the scratched glass he can see them. A massive dark shape floats just beyond the broken station towers. Brighter engines. Heavy plating. Rows of gun ports. The pirate warship. Its front lights turn toward the rusty bucket like eyes. A wide round emitter under its nose begins to glow. Tractor beam charging, Ivy says. If it locks on, they will drag us into their hangar like a toy. Jack drops into the pilot's seat. Not helpful, he says. Power up the engines. Already did, Ivy answers. They are underpowered. The tractor beam will win. Vora steps up behind him. Her hand rests lightly on the back of his chair. Her glow throws soft light across the controls. It is the same pirates, she says. I can feel the same metals in their armor. The same oil. That is creepy, Jack says. Also useful. Outside. The warship fires the tractor beam. A wide cone of blue light hits the rusty bucket. The ship shudders as systems strain. Metal groans. Warning lights flash. We are caught, Ivy says. They are pulling us toward their docking bay. Jack's jaw tightens. Of course they are, he says. Because today was going too well. He grips the control sticks. Then lets them go. Fighting the beam is useless. He leans back slowly. Okay, he says. New plan. Please tell me it is a smart plan, Ivy says. It is not, Jack answers. He looks at Vora. It is very stupid. But it might work. Her eyes narrow with interest. I like it already, she says. She leans closer. What do you need from me? Jack looks at the warship growing larger in the window. At the blue light dragging them in. He smiles a small tired smile. I need you to drink a little more poison, he says. And then we let them swallow us whole. Vora tilts her head. We let them capture us, she says. Yes, Jack answers. We let them think they have won. The tractor beam pulls them faster. The open mouth of the pirate hangar grows nearer. Full of shadows and guns. Ivy sighs in his ear. Recording note. I advised against this, she says. Yeah, Jack whispers. That is why it will work. The rusty bucket flies straight into the belly of the pirate warship. And the real trouble begins. The rusty bucket sits in the middle of the pirate hangar. Guns point at it from all sides. Bright lights shine down. Heavy metal doors close behind the ship. Jack unbuckles his harness. We are inside, he says. Inside and surrounded, Ivy answers. Many guns. 0 good exits. Vora stands behind his chair. Her glow is steady now. Stronger after the engine cleaner drink. You wanted this, she says. We let them pull us in. That was the easy part, Jack says. Now comes the hard part. He stands up and heads for the back of the ship. Vora follows. Ivy keeps talking in his ear. I am reading 20 armed pirates in the hangar. Ivy says. More deeper inside the ship. Jack reaches the rear hatch. He taps the manual release. The hatch opens a crack. He peeks out. The hangar is huge. Metal walls. Cargo stacked in rows. Pirate fighters parked in lines. And a full squad waiting with weapons ready. The same skull and gear symbol is painted on the floor. They are not boarding yet. Jack whispers. They are waiting. Vora leans close to the gap. They are afraid. She says. They do not want to come near me. Good. Jack says. Let us give them a reason to be more afraid. He pulls the hatch closed again. Okay. Vora says. What is your very stupid plan? Jack looks up at the ceiling of his ship. A round grate sits near the engine housing. Service vent. He says. Old station standard. Most big ships use the same layout for air systems. He grabs a wrench and starts to loosen the bolts. You cannot fight them. Vora says. Not all at once. I know. Jack says. So we do not fight all of them. We fight the ship. Vora watches as he pulls the grate free. Cold air blows down from the opening. This vent should link to their main air system. Jack says. If your acid gets in there, it will spread everywhere. Guns. Circuits. Doors. Helmets. All breathing the same air. Vora tilts her head. You want me to poison a whole pirate ship? She says. Yes. Jack answers. But gently. She smiles a little. There is nothing gentle about me. She says. He points at the open vent. Can you reach that from here? She crouches. Then springs up onto the engine housing with easy grace. From there she reaches the vent edge. Her fingers rest on the metal. Yes. She says. Do not melt my ship. Jack says. No promises. Vora answers. She leans forward. Her face close to the dark vent. She breathes slowly. Her glow brightens from soft to sharp. Drops form at her fingertips. They hang there, shining like small green stars. She flicks her hand. A spray of tiny drops flies into the vent. The metal hisses. The air system starts to rumble. Ivy speaks fast. Warning, she says. Acid particles are entering the pirate ventilation network. Corrosion is spreading through ducts. Good, Jack says. Outside, the pirates make their move. Heavy boots stomp up the ramp. Metal hits metal. A voice shouts. On my mark. We cut our way in. Inside the bucket. Jack and Vora stand under the vent. Vora's glow is growing brighter. Too bright. Her hands shake. That is enough. Jack says. Stop. I cannot. She says. The fuel is still burning in me. Her skin shines like hot glass. Her hair lifts in the air. Her eyes are almost white with green light. Ivy talks over them both. Acid cloud detected in multiple decks. Ivy says. Hangar. Armory. Engine control. Weapons failing. Life support is holding but strained. Outside. Shouts turn to screams. Guns jam. Power lines melt. Armor softens. The pirates fire at the bucket. But their guns spit sparks and die. One pirate hits the hangar wall with his hand. His glove sticks to the metal and smokes. Panic spreads. Inside the bucket. Heat fills the air. Jack wipes sweat from his neck. Vora, he says. You need to stop now. She hugs herself. Hands digging into her own arms. I cannot turn it off. She says. I am overloading. Her glow turns painful to look at. Green light leaks from under her nails. From the corners of her eyes. Ivy sounds worried for the first time. Her energy output is spiking. Ivy says. If she keeps going, there is a high chance of critical release. Translate. Jack says. She could explode. Ivy answers. Or flash boil the air in this room. Vora presses her back against the bulkhead. Her breath comes in short, harsh pulls. Jack. She says. You have to run. Now. Not happening. He says. Listen to me. She says. My creators built me as a weapon. If I release everything, it will kill everyone in this ship. That includes you. Then we stop you from releasing everything, Jack says. He grabs a nearby storage crate, drags it under a coolant pipe that runs across the ceiling. He jumps up, grabs the pipe, and hangs from it. You are going to break something, Ivy says. I am counting on it, Jack answers. He swings his body and kicks the pipe hard. It groans, then cracks. A blast of cold gas bursts out, fogging the air. Jack falls to the deck with a thud. He rolls to his feet and drags the broken pipe toward Vora. Cold vapor sprays everywhere. He points the open end at her. Chill out, he says. The freezing gas hits her full in the chest. Steam explodes around her as hot meets cold. Her glow flickers wildly. She gasps like someone dropped her in ice water. The light around her starts to dim. From blinding to bright. From bright to strong. She drops to her knees. The gas keeps blowing. Frost crawls across the deck. Jack twists the pipe away. He shuts the emergency valve with his other hand. The spray stops. The rusty bucket goes silent. Except for Jack's heavy breathing. He walks to Vora. Her glow is lower now. Steady again. Not wild. She looks up at him slowly. You came back, she says. Of course I came back, Jack answers. I told you to run, she says. I am bad at instructions, he says. She gives a small weak smile. I noticed, she says. Before Jack can say more, the rear hatch control panel sparks. Metal outside groans. Someone is cutting through. A bright line appears in the door. Then another. The pirates are done waiting. Ivy speaks again. One more problem, she says. Pirate captain is coming personally. He has a heavy energy cannon. Jack looks at the glowing cut lines on the hatch. He looks at Vora. Still on her knees. Recovering. He clenches his fists. Round 2, he says, is about to start. The rear hatch glows red. Metal bends. Lines of light crawl across the door as a cutting torch eats through it. Vora is on her knees on the cold deck. Her glow is steady but low. Her breathing slow and heavy. Jack stands between her and the hatch. Ivy speaks in his ear. Pirate captain is at the door, Ivy says. He is carrying a high-power energy cannon. Armor levels higher than the rest. So the big boss came himself, Jack says. Great. The cut lines meet. The hatch falls inward with a loud crash. Smoke rolls in. A tall figure steps through. His armor is thick and dark. Extra plates on his chest and shoulders. Energy cables run from his back to the huge cannon in his hands. His helmet visor glows dull red. Behind him stand more pirates. Guns in their hands. Armor scarred and smoking from the acid in the air. The captain walks down the ramp into the ship. The cannon is pointed at Jack. So, he says, without any hurry. You are the rat causing my trouble. Jack lifts his hands. You pirates have very rude greetings, Jack says. The captain looks around the small ship. At the frost on the floor. At the burned marks on the walls. At Vora kneeling behind Jack. He nods once. You used acid in my vents, he says. You melted my guns. My engines. My nice clean ship. He raises the cannon a little higher. Now I melt you. A pirate steps up behind Jack. Something cold and hard presses to the back of Jack's neck. A smaller gun. Stay still, the pirate says. Vora tries to stand. Her arms shake. Do not, Jack says over his shoulder. Not yet. The captain laughs softly. Listen to him, the captain says. He knows he has no chance. Vora looks at Jack. His shoulders are straight. But he is breathing fast. You told me to run, she says quietly. I know, Jack answers. Why did you not run? She asks. Because, Jack says. Humans are stubborn. The captain tilts his head. You are not in a story, he says. You are not a hero. You are a poor scavenger in a cheap ship. I offer you mercy. You walk away right now. Leave the asset? Forget this ever happened. He points the cannon at Vora. Jack takes a slow breath. You are right about one thing, Jack says. I am a poor scavenger in a cheap ship. He moves 1 foot forward a little. Not much. Just enough to feel the damp patch on the deck under his boot. The place where coolant and acid mixed earlier. The place where drops from the vent and from Vora had fallen. He looks down for a second. Then up at the captain. But you made one mistake, Jack says. The captain snorts. I doubt that, he says. You put me in the drip zone, Jack says. The captain does not understand. The pirate behind Jack presses the gun harder. Enough, the captain says. Say goodbye, human. He pulls the cannon up in a final aim. Jack's voice is calm. Vora, he says. Now. She is already moving. Slow for her. But fast for any human. She lifts one hand over Jack's shoulder. Her glow flares bright just in her fingers. Not wild. Not out of control. Just focused. A single green drop forms at the tip of her finger. It falls in a smooth, slow arc. Time feels thick. The drop hits the side of the giant cannon. There is a soft hiss. Then a loud scream from the metal. The cannon casing melts like wax in a fire. The corrosion spreads along the barrel and into the grip. The captain tries to hold on. The grip turns soft in his hand. Armor on his glove begins to bubble. He drops the cannon. It hits the deck and folds in on itself. Green smoke rises. The pirate behind Jack jerks in shock. Jack moves. He twists aside. The gun at his neck fires into the ceiling. Jack grabs the pirate's wrist and slams his arm into the wall. The gun falls. He kicks it away. Vora is on her feet now. She steps past Jack. Her eyes bright. Her glow stronger again. She lifts her other hand toward the captain. Another drop hangs ready. Do not, Jack says quickly. She stops. Her hand still raised. The captain stands very still. His melted glove steams. His other hand is open and empty. He stares at Vora. At the burned cannon on the floor. At the small green drop waiting at her fingertip. You could kill him, Vora says. Jack shakes his head. I could, he says. But I am tired of people treating you like a weapon. He looks the captain in the visor. Here is the deal, Jack says. You let us walk out of your ship. You do not follow. You tell stories about the acid ghost that melted your guns. But you do not come near us again. You are giving me terms, the captain says. Yes, Jack answers. The captain stares at him for a long moment. Behind him the other pirates shift. Their guns are half working. Their armor is half melted. One wrong move. One more drop. And it all gets much worse. The captain finally lifts his empty hand. Stand down, he says to his crew. They hesitate. I said stand down, he says. His voice cuts through the hangar. Guns lower. The captain looks back at Jack and Vora. Take your cursed ship, he says. Get out of my hangar. If I ever see you in my sector again, I will risk the melt. There, Jack says. He steps backward slowly, keeping his eyes on the pirates. Vora moves with him. They reach the cockpit. The hatch closes. Air seals with a hiss. Ivy, Jack says. Engines now. With pleasure, Ivy says. The rusty bucket lifts off the hangar floor. Pirates scatter back. The inner doors open just enough. The small ship blasts out into space. Away from the damaged warship. Away from the dead station. Into open dark. Silence fills the cabin. Jack keeps his hands on the controls a little longer than needed. Then he lets out a long breath and leans back. "We are alive," he says. "For now." Ivy answers. "Against my predictions." Vora stands beside his chair. Her glow is softer again. Gentle. She looks at him for a long moment. "You came back into danger," she says. "You broke pipes. You froze me. You faced a captain with a bigger gun than you." Jack shrugs. "Yes," he says. "Why?" she asks. He thinks for a second. "Because you were there," he says. She blinks slowly. "That is not a smart answer," she says. "No," Jack says. "But it is an honest one." A small smile forms at the edge of her mouth. "Humans are strange," she says. "Humans are stubborn," he says. She rests her hand very gently on his shoulder. "Just fingertips. No drops. I will try not to drip on you," she says. "I appreciate that," Jack says. After a pause, she adds, "But if I do, it is still your fault." Jack laughs. Tired but real. "You know what?" he says. "I can live with that." He glances at the fuel gauge. The warning lights. The mess. "We need money," Jack says. "Lots of it." Vora tilts her head. "For new engine cleaner?" she asks. "For that. And for other things," Jack says. He smiles at the stars ahead. "Maybe there is a bounty on pirates somewhere," he says. "Or a buyer who pays good credits for stories about acid girls and forbidden tanks." Vora looks out the window at the wide dark of space. Then she looks back at him. "One question," she says. "Ask." Jack answers. "Where do we go now?" Jack taps a few keys. Stars shift as the ship turns. "Where there is trouble," he says. He grips the controls. "Let's go find some." The rusty bucket jumps into the deep black, carrying one stubborn human, one dangerous alien, and a story that is just getting started.